Oh, let me do US East instead. Maybe that'll look better. I bet this didn't work. Hold on. Oh, it did. Ugh. Whoa, what is this? You have are these binds for what your weapons are? Mouse 3, mouse 5? But you use 2 and 4 for Glock and grenades? Oh, so you use the scroll wheel? Okay. Do you have specific binds for the grenades, or do you just use the scroll wheel? Okay. Okay, I just want to make sure because relying on your mouse wheel to go to like a specific grenade can be kind of sketchy sometimes, you know? If you want to get to like a certain grenade and you over scroll and you have to go back, it's good to have like a one bind. Yeah, exactly. Is this like a 5 stack that you're running with, or okay? Do you usually play? Do you usually play with? Usually play with a group, or just one person, or something like that? All right, that's good. I would recommend not queuing by yourself in a game like this, especially if you're looking to improve your rank. I don't think there's any penalty for queuing with a 5 stack or whatever. Um, so that's good.
Can't hear you all the way up there from the top of the leaderboards. Someone up here, I don't know, heaven. That was sweet Molly.
That's fine. Two heaven.
I mean, it's probably spot dependent. I would say that if you are first contact, then I think it's a good idea to jiggle peek. Like
The
if
offense,
you're fighting off a retake like this,
offense 4 health.
I think it's a good idea to jiggle peek like that, and then your teammates can trade off you. Um, I mean, I'm seeing the same thing. I've done a bunch of these from my posts, and I'm pretty much seeing the same thing. Uh, Probably like three in a row now. I've noticed you buy. Trying to get the beginning of this round. You buy Molly and Nade and no smoke.
One heaven shooting.
You have smoke here. I'm pretty sure this round you have Molly, Flash, Nade. Is that something you normally do, or not that something you think about? Yeah.
Because they're
Again, I've
offense.
run into the same type of thing with a bunch of these. Is that if you're not willing to use your utility, you're kind of just one, you're wasting money on it. Two, you're kind of forfeiting like half like the interaction you could be having in rounds because you could be mauling off spots, you could be HEing spots, you could be flashing for your teammates.
4 health.
Um, so yeah, that and the not prioritizing smoke over all the other nades. If you're gonna buy utility at all, usually should the first thing you should buy is the smoke, and secondarily probably flashes, and then a Molotov, and then in HE8 if you're using it in a specific spot for a specific reason. Usually, especially on T side, a Molotov is only $100 more, and it's way more useful.
Because offense zigzag.
One middle
Sorry,
fire.
Juan.
Yeah.
I didn't see.
Normally, as a supportive player, I would always buy smoke, two flashes, and a molly, and would only buy HE if I am using it for to stop a rush through, like, for example, dust too long. You can throw an HE there to stop a rush, and if you throw a Molotov, sometimes they just run through it, or like B tunnels on a rush or something like that. So just something to keep in mind. Yep.
I think I heard them rush middle. They already killed the bomb boys. We gotta move now.
I mean, I really don't think you need help with aim. Doesn't I don't see anything like completely horrible. I think your placement's good. I think even your movement's pretty good. But like none of that matters if you're in silver and you're holding on to nades and stuff like that.
It's a save round. Buy pistols for them.
That's like every NA player you just described.
Thanks.
Yeah, and guess what enables you to do something like that? A flashbang or a Molotov. Yep.
Yeah.
Now I
Because
don't. I have literally never seen this remade cache, so I don't know if all the nades that I remember work. But are you the type of player to go in first and start the like? Are you the type of entry player? Like, are you going in first, trying to get a pick to sites, or are you like hang back and wait and
I usually sit in the back and assist route when I have a minute. Because I feel like I'm pretty good at trading because I have like a pretty bad reaction time. But if nobody else is willing to entry and I feel really confident in my aim, I'll try to entry with my teammates to see if I can pick. But usually no. Usually I'm more assisting because again, I'm better at keeping someone alive. It's trade versus reaction time. What usually happens is I'll run in and three people will shoot at me and then I'll die and do nothing useful.
what about the guy you're queuing with? Is he that type of player?
I went in the back so I can bait everyone as soon as I get one pick as you guys all die. Oh shoot.
And checkers.
I can't shoot in front of everyone. Just don't move. I'm not very. I'm trying to bait people, but it's hard. That kind of thing.
Okay.
Oh no, I looked away from it. Just missing
I don't
the
think you
smoke.
can bot nades this round.
Okay, buddy.
Or you're not full buying either. You have $600.
I think I know about that. If I bought an eco round. I might buy it here. Well, this round. I should not.
Put that shit down, one.
Yeah, like I mentioned that I asked if your friend was that type of player. If you're playing like as a duo in matchmaking, you should definitely try to like do stuff together and play off each other. Um, so like if for example he was like looking to make a play on, let's say like there was a guy in what do you call the fence or whatever in the site right there. What's the spot called again? The spot?
In the very back, like quad.
Quad, yeah. So if there's a, let's say there's an opera there or something, and you guys are trying to take the site, what you could do is you could like say, hey, I'll flash for you so you can pee the opera, or say, hey, I'll molly quad so if the opera moves, then you can take a shot, stuff like that.
I think one of my problems with that particular like I don't feel very comfortable like throwing nades where I want to. Like if I have an idea like spoopy, I'm gonna smoke up this position, I'll throw it, and then I'll just not smoke it perfectly, or I won't molly it right, or something, and it just ends up being like I guess a waste. So instead of using it, I guess I end up being even more wasteful as a result.
Okay, so then I would definitely practice that then. I wouldn't worry about aim practice. I would definitely. I don't even know if there are there aim are there grenade aim maps. I have no idea.
Okay, there are a couple. I remember there was some that like quad.
On island.
I know there was a couple that told you spot, so that way they just land in rows like positions like grenades, and I could just throw them around and get comfortable with it.
Yeah, I would say if you're not looking to go super in depth, I would say forget like the set smoke stuff. Like you don't really need to know that stuff. You just need to know. I think the better thing to know is like, okay, where do I not want the enemy to peek me from, and then that's where the smoke should go exactly. Like on A site and cache here, or let's say B site and cache here, you want the smokes to be
See,
in
this is
heaven and
this is
then
my gut feeling where it's
uh,
like, hey, I just
below
want to
heaven,
kill
right,
them
in
and
the
just
other entryway from CT side.
while queuing.
Yeah. Or you could even smoke this right here, this,
Yeah,
and then you can go in the side room and then take the site that way. Um, so yeah, so you can smoke. If you throw smoke like off this wall,
Killed from
you can get it to
behind.
land here. It's harder to smoke this, obviously. You'd probably have to like actually get into the site.
behind. Lit 54.
But yeah, it looks like nobody's smoking at all. So
Yeah. I think it's kind of like I get into the habit of what everyone else does, and that just take aim away from me. I don't
Oh
know
my
why.
god, dude, you think feet fucking smell way too much to do that, buddy.
Sorry, I'm gonna compare
Can't
this
go
Rocket
through a
League
fucking vent.
because you see in Rocket League, so I like understand
Big boy, shut
really
up.
highly. A lot of players do the same thing.
This is like
where
classic
they get used to
2010
what
like
players do
concept.
there, like just hitting the ball.
Don't do
trying to
it,
take
dude. I
it.
just told
It's
you.
not the right decision.
I don't want to get a
This
waft
is
on your
rude.
stinky feet.
One of my problems is just getting in the habit of what players do.
I,
So you're playing down.
what did I say,
Playing
dude?
down. Because I don't know what
Alright, we
playing
can
up
force
should
it.
look like. I guess.
Okay.
This guy just like just playing, just shut up. Kind of annoying.
I
I
don't
would
know,
mute
he's
him,
not
but he
great
might
at
actually say
playing.
something.
Yeah, I am not
Look who he's
a
talking
Rocket
to.
League player.
This guy's been talking, right?
I definitely am not very good.
I'm gonna say no, just because he's toxic, but he's a player that's not horrible. So I usually fucking
That's
play
cool
with
though.
him.
Is that like the highest rank or what?
Do this to me?
Grand champion or
Again?
whatever?
Trying to put me down?
Yeah, it's the highest
Bottom
rank, but
scoreboard.
I'm not like
Trying to take my light?
kind of like I'm like I'm
Still
like
doesn't
a
matter.
decent global elite like
Because I'm the
easily,
least
but
impact.
I'm not. I'm like level 9 face. I'm level
Watch
8.
this.
I'm not like top of the top.
Okay.
That was really great, bro.
Helpful.
I didn't throw the molly, dog. I threw the diffuser.
That's a bomb, not a diffuser.
I'm the only one alive.
There's the other one.
Let's do this purple. Back row. Nice. Last one is on. Other one was on site. Checkers. And on site. Nice. One more on site.
Green just threw the bomb outside V ramp, so that's fun. Or
Just
V
playing
ramp.
so passive. We gotta go. They're rotating.
He has plenty of time, man.
But now it's. He might have been able to force. And then a one.
You just took his time.
Oh yeah, we just play this guy like faked A and then ran it through mid and
Good try.
Good try.
These kids are fucking dumb.
such a funny play. Oh my friend will love it.
Alright. Let's see how much money we have.
Yeah,
We
no,
have.
site looks very different from what it used to look like.
We could SMG, I guess. We kind of have to.
Yeah,
We,
the
we
mid
have
is
full.
very different. They have
Let's
like
just
this
force. We
weird
have full last bonus.
window area you can go off
Guy
on.
down
But
the
basically
back.
everything else is
This
pretty
is
much the same, except now you can smoke. You can smoke car from. Like they opened up a lot of it, so you can smoke from different locations now. But that's pretty much it. It's mostly just the visual changes. Like now it's really green. It's starting to
Why do you
not use
smoke it?
compressors anymore.
It'll work, I guess. It'll work.
I like that.
You're so nice to this guy. Let's check
It's
his
a,
head.
it's a decent smoke. We get a free cross.
One pushing middle, one pushing.
Should get on site, man. Take bomb. I'm gonna get on site.
I'm full white. Two tree.
That guy's lit
Smoking
70,
it, smoking it,
Jacob.
then you can cross.
That was your first smoke.
Nice, you took it.
First smoke, round 13.
Not that one. The other one.
Tragic. One of them's lit 72. Yeah, the one's coming from there, Juan.
Actually, I didn't even think of the fact that smokers smoke. Good molly. Like maybe this or something.
Take your time.
No, to the right, yeah.
Oh, it's
Stop it, man. Why'd you peek it, bro?
Juan. Why, how the fuck do you think he's to the left? You saw the nades come from the...
But, whatever.
he is good at that, so there's
Do I buy chip? Yes, player.
Of course you do.
this guy's so annoying. I wanna mute him. Make him
Alright.
Why? Has he given you intel yet?
fair. That's also just kind of funny. It's like watching a train wreck. You know, he can't look away. I'm walking slowly.
Gotta pick A.
highest rank. Maybe that's the reason I don't always top frag.
I don't know. I got 2 picks, so I figured we should push site.
No, I mean you did good. I mean people like will chase after people, like you know how people do.
No one
in
even
low
went
ranks?
mid last time.
Yeah.
Or he did, but all he did was hide behind.
Very low ones, bro.
The trick to getting out of low ranks is just having a main, in my opinion.
There's another one. He's to the left. Hit for 26. Die. Orange to your left.
Chill. I'm on A. Are we going A or what?
I think there was smoke off.
Sandbags.
Alright, when you peek purple, I'm gonna open door.
You know if you can still shoot through this wall.
Yeah. I think I'm just trying to.
Yep, unsilence M4. It's the best gun in the game, baby.
That's not a good position to hit.
Snowball, shoot like every bullet out of your clip except for 2. Oh yeah, there we go. There we go.
Two partners dead.
Pull up the Zeus.
This guy's probably highway.
You don't care.
Yeah,
They're
I think
throwing.
I just
You do realize that, right?
smoke my way.
Okay, he's highway.
Let's play down. Nice.
Hit him with it. Oh.
This is every game. I feel like I'm playing okay.
What about it?
I'll go A. You wanna go A with me? Or are you going mid because you're upper?
I'm doing it. I don't like going.
I'll play 4.
What, you want a kit?
I don't
How
like
much is kit? 400?
I'll play quad.
Smoke it. That was kind of a bad smoke. I kind of had to just.
Oh, like fuck, they're breaking
That's a
everything
good
B.
smoke.
I just had to throw it from not good spot. I know a lineup, but I didn't do it.
It doesn't matter. It's a good smoke.
Oh, they're throwing smokes.
I'm gonna get a kill through smoke. Ready?
Yeah, they're coming B. They're all B.
Alright, well.
Checkers. I'm gonna get rushed. Help!
Oh yeah, there's bomb. You got a pick, nice.
One's hit for 35. My god, one fucking 007 John Wick.
One left.
Back left of B. He's playing.
Nice. I started lagging there in a bit. I made hitting that shot really awkward. Do you want me to boost? Do you want me to boost you up top?
Oh, Shroud. Would be 9. I'd rather play for.
You want to boost me? Nah. If you throw a smoke quickly. Let's try it. Wait,
Pushing mid.
Oh, they're pushing mid. That's not actually. I'm gonna go support mid.
One.
I'm gonna push my own smoke.
We saw bomb. A. Yeah, but
I'm sorry.
oh, you're behind him. Oh my god.
Oh, he's hacking.
Is he?
Yeah, running lock headshot.
That's possible, isn't it?
No, I was with a helmet. Oh, actually, wait. He's not hacking. Wait. I had a helmet. That's not a thing. That's not possible.
Okay, I'm afraid they might come through A, so I'm gonna watch A. Holy shit. Oh my god, he was behind me.
Oh, the guy
He was behind you, yellow.
I'm scared. I'm scarred for life, bro. I'm never playing this game again.
Comedy.
I remember this game though.
I
I'm
have
pretty sure I
smoke.
have
I have a smoke.
factor.
Mine
So I
up
get
quick.
matched with what's this?
Going in there.
Toxic players.
3 or 4.
So it was a fallback.
His team was like pretty
Yep,
they
he's
weren't
shooting.
toxic, but they were like
Who the
my
smoke?
friend was like, hey, can you
Yep,
drop
completely through the smoke. One tap.
are you gonna opt like the op, and he got like
I'm gonna let Jago peek the
Wasn't a
smoke.
big
See if
deal.
she oh no, it's a
There's
one
just
way.
little moments of like people
Oh,
just
it's a bad
being
smoke.
annoying
Crap.
and yelling
Okay.
into the mic
My bad.
and
I kind of rushed the
Wait, how do you get that?
with the what?
Yeah, you.
How do you get low trust factor?
Never mind. That's my
Well,
fault.
I told you to go fast. I didn't tell you.
Me and my
Yeah,
friend
yeah.
played
It's
really
definitely
bad,
my
and we would
fault.
always
Squeaky?
mess around. I would team kill him, and it was just me and my friend. It brought my trust factor down.
At least 2A.
I think it was that, and then also I haven't played in a while, so I think I was like also lower trust factor. I'm pretty sure because when we played, it gave a notification to my
Smoke A?
friend through Steam that would we were queuing low trust factor or something like that. It said
Straight
Nothing
through
in there.
smoke.
matchmaking screen,
On site?
like low, low trust factor.
Oh my god, her voice is
On site?
Okay.
So close.
Last one's on site. Near safe.
And I'm like yelling, he's lit 88, please. He's so good.
I love it. Green. Oh my god, he kills him with it. I love that. It's done, man.
Where can I?
all over B. They're rushing B.
Your lineup is off.
Really? Oh, okay. I'll fix that.
Yeah, they're all B.
I'm popping this. I'm Vince.
And smoke. Or under.
Under dead.
Where?
Under
Do you
still.
have any?
Under still.
Backside. Lit.
Back side. Back left side. Back left side. Last one.
Easy.
Nice. Good stuff, man.
I think I
That's
have
enough.
You just win the rest of the rounds.
Kid.
Yeah, I said at the end of the round, I said I think I am turret wing.
10 kills.
Oh yeah, if you ever screw up like this and you want to smoke, you can just throw the HE in the spawn, then buy smoke.
I'll take that as a yes.
Smoke mid.
I messed up mine. I aimed to the left. I think it still works though. Oh yeah, it worked. Grand weekend.
I don't have a smoke.
They're smoking B. Smoking B. They're coming.
Fine, easy.
They haven't faked once. I wouldn't doubt it. But I'm gonna stay. Oh yeah, no, yeah.
One's in checkers left side.
Checkers dead. One more checkers. Headshot. 91. Checkers dead.
I don't know if he got the one on the left side of checkers or.
Yeah, no, I'm not
Phased.
checkers. I'm not sure.
We have bomb. We don't need to push.
Middle.
Nice.
Just runs out on site.
Yeah, I would say the aim is probably the least of your problems.
I don't know. It must.
I don't know why they made the A1S cheaper. I don't get it.
But I would recommend doing instead of static aim, like bot maps where all the bots stand still. I would say do like a moving one and try to hit heads. And then even have you move as well, and you try to hit a moving target hitting heads.
On middle.
Nice. We got bomb down middle.
I'm gonna bomb down middle.
Oh, he's left side.
Mm-hmm.
Give me.
Hey, yellow's nav off.
Where's me?
Oh, oops, my bad.
Thank
Oh,
you for
damn,
up
shoot.
blue.
I was gonna drop them to be nice.
No, why would you be nice?
I've been doing that.
If you take my AUG, I'm buying a fucking auto. No, I want my AUG.
I dropped roll there.
Bang your headshot. Bang.
Hey.
I have trouble taking what I'm doing there and putting it in a real game. I think that's
I'm across you.
the easiest thing in a real game.
Yeah, I would only recommend using the deathmatch drivers are good for like just doing muscle memory warm up. Like you shouldn't really. The whole thing about deathmatch is that like
Well, he just bought the. He brought the.
it's just a quick way to get used to your sense, pretty much. It's not really for aim necessarily. Like it's not going to help you aim at. Like I've noticed that like sometimes I don't know. I probably can't explain exactly what you're doing, but I think you are. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see. I want to watch this again. Can I slow this down? How do I slow this down?
Useless dead. Let's do this.
Just do a smoke when we have sight.
Looking at this inflammation.
Oh, I could ask you, what's your peripheral situation? Like, what do you use for mouse and mouse pad and keyboard and stuff?
He
So I
brought
use
the
a
fucking.
Yeah, it's the G102. I'm getting that mouse because I feel like this mouse is a bit big for my hand because I have to kind of like I don't put my entire hand on the mouse. I kind of pressure point it with my fingertips, and I want to try at least a smaller mouse and just see how it feels because I have a smaller hand. For my keyboard, I have a Razer Black Widow Chroma that I've had for a long time. Um, and then for my headphones, I have a what's it? Some sort of let me check.
Yeah, I don't care about your headphones necessarily, but the mouse pad, what are you using?
I'm not. Actually, I think I have the. Do I have it? I used to have the box. I don't remember the box went, but it was a G. It was a Logitech. It was like a something I just cut at Best Buy that looked decent. It was like a G.
Is
It
it
was like
cloth?
a big mouse pad. But honestly, I think it's cloth. I couldn't tell you. I think it's cloth. Yeah.
Was it like rolled up? You got it?
Yeah, it was rolled up.
Okay. Uh, Is that I would say that like something like this like shaking after where was it?
I'm looking back now. Sorry, I was redoing that.
Oh, whoops.
I never really thought about my mouse pad very much. I thought about my mouse a lot though. I definitely want to try something different because
So when
it
you
feels good.
how do you hold it again? How do you hold the mouse?
So let me. Um. So I kind of I put my thumb on the left side of the mouse, my pinky on the right side, kind of, and then I curl my fingers up so that they're pointed like almost 90 degrees straight down, and then my thumb rests on the top of the mouse pad, and actually a little bit raised from it. So it's kind of like it's most of the pressure I have on the mouse is in my thumb on the side and my pinky on the right side, and then my fingers on the mouse. If that makes sense. I don't
Okay.
really have my palm on the mouse. It's kind of like floating above.
Yeah, it's
It's
called the
mostly on top of the
claw.
mouse, but
It's called the claw grip.
yeah, claw. Yeah,
I just wanted to make sure you weren't doing anything like crazy or
super
something
weird.
because
I've always thought my grip was weird because most of my friends do that. They put their entire hands on it. I've always felt so loose and not in control. Is that like
yeah,
what do you guys think?
I would say that most players don't do palm anymore because if you try resting your palm on your mouse and you move your mouse, you have to kind of move your whole arm. But if you use the claw grip, you can actually make a little micro adjustments with your thumb and your pinky by like moving your
Yeah.
mouse back and forth a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
That can be pretty valuable, especially in a precision-based aim, like FPS
Yeah.
game. So I would say something like this that we see here. Where is it? I keep skipping past it. You do crouch. I was gonna say this could be something with like if someone has like a bad mouse pad, or if I always recommend to not get something like a hard or like a slick pad, like like somewhere where if your mouse would like glide uncontrollably, something like that.
Yeah.
Um, it looks like you're not just adjusting to.
Oh, I mean, my mouse glides pretty easily on it. I'm not sure how easily it's supposed to glide, but I could like tap my mouse and it would slide a little bit. If I just kind of like give it a little nudge, it doesn't like slide just a bit. I'm not sure like how much it's supposed to or anything.
There should be no resistance, but it shouldn't slide off like it's like on ice skates or something.
Yeah.
So I'd say right here is mainly you're not correcting for your crouch. Like you have head, perfect head, and then we crouch, and then we don't account for that. We don't account for the crouch.
And we just kind of get lucky that he just doesn't shoot at us.
Yeah, so I would say like even like you don't play any other FPS games?
I played. Okay, I played Fortnite for a while back CS:GO was like my main.
Ding.
My first
ADA.
real FPS game actually. Oh, and Overwatch. I play Overwatch.
Oh, perfect. Do you know Zarya's secondary fire? The laser?
The one where you just a laser. Yeah.
Did you ever have trouble doing that? Or did you find that difficult?
Like tracking him.
Yeah.
Not really. I never had trouble with like, because I played Fortnite, I was pretty okay with tracking. Things I've been training on. It's this one tracking exercise on this program I use called AimLab, which is just like a it's pretty much Kodak. It's like the poor man's version of Kodaks. I don't know if you've heard of Kodak.
Yep.
I would do this one called like Circle 360, and it's basically just the circle spins around you, and it moves, kind of back. It goes around and then it changes direction. Just a tracking exercise that I would do. I've only been doing that for a bit though, so I would say my tracking aim is just kind of like okay.
Is it like a steady, is it like a at the same rate, like a steady move back and forth? You know what I mean?
So yeah, it's pretty steady.
Okay. I would say for the same reason that standing still and clicking headshots on bots is not good. I would say that is probably also not good. You want something that has like some kind of like erratic movement, because basically a game like Counter Strike would like you'd get way more kills if you just um, maintain your crosshair head level. Like like here, your head, it is head level. But we're not looking. We're not looking. Now we're looking. Again, see, we're starting ahead, and then we just. Well, I guess you almost killed this guy, but
I think I have a really bad habit of crouching and then just not adjusting. I just kind of aimlessly spraying. I think I'm. I think this just comes down to playing FPSs more. I'm really bad when it counts, like in the moment, and my aim just like dies. And I think I don't really
Yeah,
think
yeah,
about it
orange
enough.
dead, yeah.
I've
what do you mean, like
recently
in the moment? Like, what do you mean?
like
Who do you think you are?
I feel like I
Your
can go into
father.
like if I go into like
That's
aim training,
completely
right? And
beside
like
the
I click on
point.
heads, like I feel like I'm good at it. But then in a game when I'm thinking about so many other things,
God, he's
it's no longer
quick-witted just
automatic.
like
Like
you.
I'm
He's
thinking
so
about clicking
humble.
on head. So then I spray at
One
the bottom, and
boost.
then I crouch spam, and then I'm moving and I'm erratic, and
Did you spell goose on cash?
No, he said boost.
Let me get at them. I got
I
the
feel like I
power
have
in
to
my
like
hands
sometimes
right
I
now.
feel like I have to consciously like think about clicking on the head to actually like
I'm gonna three. Oh my
do
god,
it.
that scared
I
me.
guess like it's not perfectly muscle memory.
I found him.
Yeah, I would say that something like that would be just play the game more.
Yeah, he's main.
Like
Yeah.
once you play the game more and you start figuring out
I got
there's
one.
other things you need to think about, then
I died.
that stuff won't bother you anymore. But
That's
I don't know the way you're talking about like um, I don't know the way you talk about how you want to be like a more supportive player and um,
Bombs down over here.
Why do you keep peeking like that?
I'm trying to bait him out.
yeah, I mean I really don't think that I think me watching you play doesn't really say support player to me.
Something.
I
Yellow
think
goose.
maybe you're misdiagnosing yourself. I think that I think you're misdiagnosing yourself.
Thanks to the
Oh,
op,
no
yellow.
problem. Thanks for the op, yellow.
Oh, no problem,
Say
dude.
your face is stupid. Oh wait, why'd you say no?
Um,
You gotta hit him with the positivity. Just confuse
No,
him.
it's hard to
don't say
say.
things that
Like
confuse
I
me.
can only speak from my like
Oh, it's not about being funny. It's about
experience and playstyle.
Oh yeah, you totally confused him. Look how bamboozled that idiot is looking right now. Oh my gosh, what a bamboozle.
But like
I'm sorry.
Just want to kick him for that.
I'm gonna one tap him through this.
Nice, good one tap.
I lied.
the problem is that I don't know like
I'm an
obviously I can't you know
Spray
know what you're thinking at the time watching this back and like
Jake.
I don't know if you're just thinking about something different than I would or you just aren't aware like you just don't have enough game knowledge yet. Like how many hours did you say you had?
Bait him after.
I can check
Look
it.
Okay, so yeah, not very many.
That game was really quick.
Yeah, like not a
Wait,
crazy
is that
amount, but
16
I feel
hours?
like I'm pretty like for
Yeah.
500 hours. Most people
Oh,
are
this is.
in silver or Nova.
The big cheese. That's me.
Let me Counter Strike. I have 454, so around 450.
I
The
don't have a smoke.
smoking bee.
You know all the maps, right? You don't have any trouble with like
I haven't faked bombs
getting
yet.
lost or anything like that, or not
No,
knowing angles.
I'm
Oh, what'd you
I
say?
mostly play the same like 6 or 7
No? Oh, yep,
uh,
yep.
One's in checkers left side.
Checkers dead. One more checkers. Headshot. Lit 91. Checkers dead.
Like
There's some
dust
maps I
two.
don't like, but
I don't know if he got the one the left
never
side of
enjoyed
checkers or
Yeah, never played
Phased.
checkers. I'm not sure.
We have bomb. We don't need to push.
That's I think that's fine. I think playing that many maps is fine. I mean,
Yeah.
one of those sessions I did
Lights out on
here, I felt like the guy didn't know like all the angles, and he kept getting like surprised by people.
Yeah.
Like you seem to know all the spots and all where you should look, so that's good.
Yeah.
If I don't know, it must.
Um,
I don't know why they
Yeah.
made the A1S cheaper. I don't get it.
Because it's worse.
I just want to watch another CT round,
Less
see if I
bullets.
can notice anything else.
Yeah, but it's silenced. Oh, you smoke because your smoke's better.
Two smokes mid.
I'm gonna go support mid. I'm gonna support you mid.
One at boost.
I mean, you kind of just crushed this team too,
Nice.
or
Okay,
you
I'll
kind
bomb
of just went out. So
I'm gonna bomb down middle.
Close left side.
I think I'm playing
Got
well
him.
when I'm killing the other team. I
Gimme,
think I'm
gimme,
playing
gimme,
bad
gimme.
when I'm not.
Hey, yellow's nav off.
So like my mindset is always get a pick, get a kill.
yeah, that's a very
And
entry like
Nice.
way of thinking
Yeah,
too.
thank you
Like
for the push, Blue.
I would say from my experience, if I'm on CT side and I'm playing
No,
A,
gimme next.
I am first thing I do is probably listen for a rush. Like I would get up close to A main and listen. If I don't hear
Hey.
anything, I could flash my teammate in, or I could just tell my teammate to smoke it, or use my
yeah.
smoke or whatever. Um,
One mid
Swan,
with
watch
boost.
out.
I
He's on
think
my feet.
I hope that was
if you just start using your utility to get information instead of peeking for information, you might find
How do
that
I spot that?
your playstyle would change,
Oh
and
well.
you might be a more supportive player. It's hard to
Yeah.
say, but
decent.
Yeah.
Do this.
like doing this stuff, pushing through smokes, like that is very
Did you see that
obviously very
Yeah.
entry.
site?
I think I was thinking just okay, my
Useless dead.
team's coming. My mindset was very
I
like
think
okay, my
80
team's
ace.
pushing the site and shutting us up from the other angle. I need to get behind and get a different angle from them. That was
Yeah,
kind of
that's
my
like
mindset. So that's
like
what
it's
I
like
was
a
thinking
lurking
doing.
player's mentality too,
Nuts.
like playing away from your team.
Bro, they're
I
not
do
covering
really like
mid
lurking.
anymore.
I
It's
enjoy
annoying.
kind of
This player
sticking
game is
around.
getting
Hey,
hectic.
orange nav yeah.
I usually like I go back
Who do
to
you think
lurking
you
when
are?
it's like really like crowded
Your
with like
father.
when it frustrates me. I'm not really much
That's
anymore.
completely
There's
beside
no
the point.
confusion when I feel really
Who do you
lost
think
and like
you are?
doing well.
Nah,
That
he's
used to be like
quick
the goal
witted
for
just
lurking.
like you. He's
One
so
mid
It
with
humble.
usually allows
boost.
me to get some value and
One boost.
help a team or you know some sort of a random pick
He
here and
spawned
there. I'm like,
right
oh,
What
okay,
what
I
was
can get
that?
boost
Like
this
what
boost
were those
this,
guys
and
looking
then
at?
you
Oh, I
know
guess one was a
get
I got
bot.
behind.
full power in my hands right now.
I'm gonna three. Oh my god, that scared me.
But I also feel pretty bad when I lurk
I
sometimes
found
because I
him.
feel like if I'm you know
Where is he? Oh, he's A.
Yeah,
if
he's
if
main.
I'm lurking,
That's
I'm not
bum. Boom
necessarily
boom.
helping my team pick site. And I
I
don't
got
really want
bum
to
down,
see
but
that.
then I rushed and I died.
At least they'll calm down. Just
I would say it's one of the harder roles. I think entry, fragging, and lurking
I
are the
have
two hardest because you're either the back or the front, basically.
I would know better. Oh yes, let's peek with
Um,
an auto. Good job.
a lot of
Absolutely
the
beautiful.
decisions you make can decide rounds for sure. Like
Checkers dead over here.
to be a good lurker is to stay unpredictable, to maintain
Who's peeking like that?
kind of like a secondary map control while your team does something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I think if you,
Up.
I think you should
Can I have
stick
up?
to what you enjoy playing and like
Can I have up?
stop trying to fill. Because I've been in this situation where like, oh, I have to be an entry player
Yeah.
because nobody else on my team will do it.
Thanks to the
Only
And
update.
I'm talking about a
Jubilatory
team.
can
I'm not
do
even
that.
talking about matchmaking. I'm talking about like an actual team, like
Say your face
Yeah.
is
get
stupid.
with scheduled matches and stuff like that.
He knows
And it
that.
sucks because like
You gotta hit him
uh,
with the
I'm not a I'm not like a
No, no, it's not.
flick to head entry player with like good movement. My movement's probably decent at best.
Yeah, you
I'm
can't
much more comfortable in a
bamboozle them.
supportive role like last alive,
Yeah,
like the clutcher,
bamboozler.
like flashing for my teammates, setting them up, getting them good picks so I can get in position to win the round, stuff like that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna one
I
tap him
play.
through this.
I've been getting into League recently. I don't know if you
I
play
lied.
League. But I like playing top lane, which is
I
where
am a liar.
you split push and you play independently.
Spray through the
Just because I'm not like in that game, I'm not a big
thing,
fan of moving as much
Jacob.
because we all fail. I like doing things on my own in that game specifically. I guess in Counter Strike, I love duels and I love solo duels.
I'm gonna die to this guy. How much did I hit him for?
And
I got
that felt really
assist.
good to me. Like that moment, like that was
Dang.
really fun to me to get behind them and grab two
That game
picks.
was really quick. Holy.
It
Wait,
strokes
was
my
that
ego.
16 rounds?
Those
Didn't
kind of
feel like
things.
16
Yeah.
rounds.
I would
CS
say I
is
definitely enjoy
The
um,
big
I'm definitely
cheese.
more.
That's me.
I know this is
The
a
big
distraction mindset,
cheese.
but I'm very kill oriented. Like I really like
69.
going for kills and
Big
all this kind of
cheese.
things for my team.
You said the
Like
funny
in
though.
the sense of getting a
I
frag
said
and
That was
then
actually
we
funny.
go in and
Oh, dude, I got back to silver. That's so
I
cool.
catch them lurking or
Oh,
Actually,
that's
that's
a
sick.
I don't
good
know.
graffiti.
no. It isn't.
Yeah, I think that's a very
Nuh-uh.
like normal entry player or lurk player's mentality. Like, um, I think what you said before about like I forget exactly what you said, but you said like when you would do deathmatch and stuff and you'd feel like your aim is good, but then when you get in games, sometimes like maybe if it's like a one on two or a one on one situation, like it's not nerves, but like you definitely with your brain like tries to make yourself okay. I really got to aim good here. I really got to hit my shot here. And I
Yeah.
think if you're a type of player who um, those thoughts get to you in like those high pressure situations, it's almost always better to be the entry player or the lurker, the one who like starts the round off and gets some kills and then maybe gets refragged or whatever, but you're putting your team in a better position by getting those early kills. Um, so yeah, I would say that try to. I know it's matchmaking, but like
Yeah.
try to do it more. I think if you just incorporate the utility, I know it's hard to coach like when's the best time to use utility. Like obviously that's
Yeah.
like always going to be different like in every map. So like I would say um, if you can visualize where you would first encounter the enemy in a bomb site, right? Like
Yeah.
what's the fastest point they can get to heaven on B site and cache? Like obviously you
Yeah.
can't ever beat them there, so they're always either gonna you know they're always gonna be already set up in B site. So like
Yeah.
before you even get to that doorway, you should be like, okay, where um do I wanna like what you can do is you can like smoke off the left wall so it lands in the doorway, and then you can go into um, what's that? What's that spot called? Yeah, checkers. So you can smoke that front door off, and then go into checkers, and then clear that out, and then you can smoke from checkers in the into the right doorway where the tree is. You can smoke that off, and then you can flash maybe heaven, and then you can maybe molly off the back site, and then clear the other spot that you didn't molly. So I would say like figure out like a it can even be like the same every time because usually that's what I do. I just do the same thing, and then you can switch little variations on it to keep the enemies guessing. But like my cash B take would be like smoke off the left wall, have it land right in that doorway. So if they're like hopping or something, they can't take that pick. And then I would clear the once you get up to the smoke in the doorway, clear the right side. Actually, let's just maybe I can like what was the first round you went B right or
Just us. Yay.
You got Deagle first round.
This is the round I got
Yay.
That's cool. Like always.
Nice off.
Yeah, you have the water elemental.
like if this was a gun round, for example, not a pistol round. So I would smoke off. you can throw smoke off this wall here, like somewhere here, like off this pipe, and it can land right in this spot. And then you can just clear behind this box
One heaven, one
and
side.
have someone flash in checkers maybe, and then go into checkers this way, into that doorway,
See anything over the blood?
then clear that out. Then you can smoke from checkers. You can smoke this doorway pretty easily. They're not gonna be out on the balcony there peeking you. They're gonna be in sight, so you can stand inside checkers and
One vent.
smoke to the right there. Then you can throw mollies and HE nades back here, and you can even smoke off heaven if you have a third guy smoking, or just flash the hell out of it. And then that's a pretty easy way to like visualize a site take. And then if you're using, that's like 3 nades used right there just to take the site. And since you're the entry player, you've used all your nades, so then you can be first contact because all your nades are gone, and then you can let your teammates counterflash when they try to take back the site.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think in general you're talking about clutching. I think in clutches I'd rather do one of two things. I think I had a, I don't remember this game. I want to get my head like a 1v4 clutch. I'd rather hit a flow state and I just like absolutely get, I just know I have it and
Dude, we
I
just
get
gave up
it,
all of our
or I
angles.
get my own head. So it's
I
very,
fell to
Yeah, we don't need to peek.
it's not very consistent. I'd rather
No, what happened is
do a
I
really
fell
good
back to
clutch
hold
and
A
then
main, and then
just
another guy
have the
came with
clutch
me.
fail on my own glitch to the stash.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't think. Jamie,
there's been plenty of like, if you think, do you know like the pro scene at all or no for Counter Strike?
I followed it for a while. I
Yeah, you
really
do
just
because
watched
life
clips
it
of
up with
He's
players
off
on
in that
YouTube.
Checkers
corner,
one.
and he has 44 health.
Flawless or something.
Checkers heaven.
Top build most like their team.
You
And
didn't
then
The
They
they
can
time.
got into
Hopefully.
really into it for a while.
I guess if I
Okay.
didn't mistake and I didn't buy my
As I was gonna say, there's definitely, you know, every like high level player is like a certain type of player that
Sale.
their teammates, set them up specifically for specific situations that they, are best in. So there's no player that's like doing everything. There's no player that's winning all their aim duels and also supporting their team and also lurking and also doing this. Um, teams are structured in a way that enables the right player in the right spot, basically. So
Full
I
five.
think just the realization of like, oh, I like doing this, so I'm just gonna do this because I know I'm good at it and I like doing it. So I'm not gonna try to be what I'm not, basically.
Yeah.
He's off in zigzag.
I enjoy the very
One middle
Sorry,
fire.
Juan. I didn't see.
I feel like I think I saw something that on your stream that you played Dota, but I forget what they call it. There's a word they call it in Dota, like the ADC, and it's whoever gets all the most pull, all the money, all the
Just hard
currency.
carry, yeah.
He's truck picking up.
Yeah, the hard carry. Like I'm the type of player that would usually play like a hard carry. Super ego, thinks he's centric god, kid, wonder. I usually like it. I guess in CS the equivalent is being like an entry player who gets in there and gets 2 picks, flashes, like in Rocket League,
Dude,
I
that
play
guy
the
turned that corner
plays the
fucking
flash
fast.
in your face, and I kind of just expect my teammates to play around me usually, and I guess in CS
since I'm
I
recording,
tend
I'm
to
like
yeah I
really
either tend to
conscious of the mistakes I'm making.
entry or I tend
But
I guess
like I'm just like shoot,
earlier
I'm
like
standing in the
I
open.
want to do
I'm
Hopefully
playing
they'll like
so bad right now, dude. I haven't played
stand
CS in
still.
like 2 days.
everyone always wants to
I haven't played
entry,
CS in a week, but
but I guess my playstyle looks more usually
Why is purple AFK kind of every round?
you know, he like tabs
easily
out.
He's
chose
texting, bro.
He was
entry
checking his mom
entry
was
player.
texting him.
I think it's because the roles,
Rushing.
like, it's very obvious that League of Legends and Dota supports are like
They rushed Buki.
the healers or like
Yeah.
the weak
He
characters
killed the
that
bot.
like kind of die quickly. In Counter Strike, the support player is pretty much like a baiter. Like you kind of like your teammates go in and then you clean up, basically. You enable your teammates by flashing and
Oh, he's up there.
getting information for them and stuff like that, and like kind of being like you're usually the one who like plants the bomb or whatever, and like you're telling your teammates where to go. Usually the in-game leader's like a supportive role, right? Um,
Yeah.
but in Counter Strike, usually like a supportive
He's coming.
player usually kind of frags out as well.
Oh, so unlucky.
Or I guess it depends, but like
He was rather close to
um,
fire or highway.
There's only so
Yeah, you aren't in a game like CS. In a game like CS, you can't be sacrificial. Like you can't just say like, oh, I'm just gonna let everybody fight and then I'll give them like a gun or something, or I'll keep giving them. I it's like you can't really do it because you have to. You're like a body, so you have to shoot as well. You can't give your teammates your health. You can't give them an extra gun to use. Like you can't revive them. Yeah. So I think that just the name, I think just the support, like vernacular is like it's just different in Counter Strike. It's not the same. So I understand what you mean by like I want to be more supportive. But like the fact is that like support is like an actual like role that needs to like people need to play like a support to actually support. And most people think it's like, you know, whatever, hanging back and like I don't know. Well, it is trading basically, but like um, I just like that contrast between the two games. Like it's a very different thing because you can actually buff your hard carry in Dota and your ADC in League, right? You can actually completely make them unkillable and win the game like that. But in Counter Strike, it's pretty different. Yeah, and I would say that you said you like top lane in League of Legends. I would say that it's kind of the same thing as the ADC if you think about it. You're on the edge of the map. You're farming against one player.
And checkers.
The difference is that the ADC has a support with him to help him. You're just like a tankier version usually, but you're still trying to like win your lane and you're still trying to scale, right? Most of the time. So
Yeah, that round was 100% my fault.
Players mid would go take a turret and putting that like I loved doing that.
I always
It was very easy.
I've tried bottom and eco around.
yeah, it definitely exists in like Dota. I have 6K hours in Dota almost now. Yeah,
I think people got armor D.
five, 6 so far. Yeah, I don't have that many. No, no, no. I played mostly casually.
Take that shit down.
Well, I played since I was in high school, Dota 1 and Heroes of New as well. I'm like Legend 3 right now, I think. So right in the middle. I've got 49 hours. I can't use a controller anymore. It hurts my hands. Oh yeah, I can't even do that. That hurts my hands too. Yeah, I played I have a PlayStation controller that I played like oh yeah, me and my friend tried Cuphead if you've heard of that game and I can't even we had to stop after like a couple hours because like I can't even do this. My hand hurts so bad. We're just so old now. Can't can't grind the Sega Genesis like I used to. Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, so I would recommend to to wrap up. I would recommend like the aim training, like I said, like moving bots, practice tracking, and then the grenade maps if they exist. Just practice throwing grenades. You don't necessarily have to learn like set smokes and stuff like that, but like, um, what else did we say? Yeah, yeah. If you do that, just mute everybody and just try and lurk and try to like just watch the mini map and see like use that as your information. Um, yeah, yeah. I mute everybody in every Dota game ever I've ever played. I just mute my whole team. Um,